Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Road, and in today's video we are going to be going over 7 reasons why I love JDM cars. Now for those wondering, you know, it's going to sound very confusing because my favorite brand is not Japanese cars, or my favorite brand is not a Japanese car brand. It is BMW. I've always loved BMW. I think they make absolutely really cool cars. I like cars that are kind of like unassuming, but still look aggressive. But they're just like, you know, they're kind of sleek and laid back. They don't really stand out that much. I really like cars like that, and that's what BMW does. But at the same time, Japanese cars are without a doubt in my mind my favorite country of car, because they make stuff that's just so much. Oh my god, my eyeballs. They make stuff that is just so like my style, and today we're going to be going over what my style is, I suppose. Also, if you are in the Connecticut area, let me know if you guys know where we are. By the way, this is Mohawk Mountain. I live very close to it, so I go up it all the time. It's a great little cruising road. But yeah, let me know if you're a CT native. But without further ado, let's go right into the list. The number 7, the 7th reason why I love JDM cars over a lot of other companies is the looks. I cannot tell you, like, yeah, looks are completely subjective, but I think that Japanese cars look so unique to pretty much anything else on the road. I want to like put down this little flap, but I can't because then you guys won't be able to see. I can do that, I guess. But yeah, Japanese cars are so much more like unique than anything else. People that aren't really into cars, they stop and stare at Japanese cars all the time. And I know I don't own one, but I don't really see people doing that much with like German cars. Some American cars, definitely, you know, like you get a nice looking Corvette, then people are gonna look at it. But like with my freaking 350Z, some guy came up to me and thought it was worth $70,000. I paid $5 grand for it. Like they look very sleek and cool and special, and I like that. Obviously, you know, as a car guy, we like to say like, oh, looks aren't everything, but dude, looks are a big part of it. You know, if you don't think your car looks cool, you're not going to be happy with that car. So looks is definitely number 7 for me. Number 6 is the community. Now the community can be a good and a bad thing. By the way, I will be including 3, you know, cons about Japanese cars at the end. 3 things that I don't like about Japanese cars, just to kind of balance it out. But the community can be a bad thing if you're like usually online a lot. If you're online a lot and you're like on Instagram or TikTok, yeah, you might not like the community because they kind of like hate on each other for stupid things. They like make fun of each other for, it's just, the community online is a very toxic place, but that's kind of just how the car community is in general online. But when you get in person, dude, there's no other community out there like the Honda community. You know, Honda guys help each other out so much. Like, they're a great community. Then you got like, even like the VQ community has a nice little tight knit, but that's not even it. Just JDM cars in general. If you have a JDM car and you see another JDM car on the road, you're just like, hey, and you guys like each other. It's a cool like feeling. The JDM community is so awesome. Whereas I feel like German car guys and American car guys are more like trying to compete against each other. Japanese car guys are just happy that there's another one there. And it's like, that's pretty sick to me. I like that a lot. The next thing, number 5, is the reliability. Obviously, this is a big selling point on Japanese sports cars. They are reliable. I've had this Integra with 150,000 miles for a year now, and it hasn't given me any major issues. Now, things like the window not working, that happened. The brakes are going bad now. But actual issues with the car that are like unique to the car, nothing has ever happened that way. It's always just been completely fine, and I love it. The 350Z is a different story. I bought my 350Z and it had an issue from the start because of a wiring issue, and the car is a salvage title, swapped motor. It's been touched by a bunch of random dudes, and it's just not ideal. I made a really bad decision with that. So the 350Z, that's a different story. Yes, it's unreliable right now, but that's because of the people that touched it. 350Zs are usually very reliable, but that's what I like. You know, that they are reliable. They can handle power reliably too. It's not like you got to worry. Like, I know that some BMWs are getting pretty damn reliable nowadays, which is sick. And Audis, I've always kind of been there. Volkswagen has always been a really reliable brand. But once you start to modify them, they kind of lose all that reliability. But in Japanese cars, it's the opposite. Besides like a WRX or like a rotary. I mean, there are some exceptions, obviously, but for for the most part, you know, Japanese cars are quite reliable. The next thing, number 4, is the simplicity, and I don't mean the simplicity of the interior, which is nice. You know, look how like it's just right there. You don't have anything over the top. The looks too, you know, they're simple, but yet they're unique, and I like that. But what I mean by simplicity is how the engineers build the car, dude. If you are a car guy, chances are you work on your car yourself, right? You don't bring it to a mechanic when it needs something to be done. I cannot tell you how much of a massive life changer it is that, you know, when I don't have to worry about like, oh, are they gonna have a horrible, hey look at BRZ, a horribly placed motor mounts or something like that. Like everything is super simple. My Acura Integra is literally like a Lego. You just literally just change some parts. It's so simple to work on these cars. It is a great opportunity for like a new time mechanic to get involved in cars, because they are just that good. On top of that, it's like you have freaking you have Audis that literally need to like drop the entire motor for an oil change. That's insane. It's just like every other car is a little bit over the top, whereas Japanese cars, they're just so simple. It's so easy to work on them, and everything is just right there in front of you, and I love that about it. It definitely helps as a noob mechanic trying to work on cars. Next, third place, my third favorite reason why I like Japanese cars, that kind of sounded weird, is the options that you have. Dude, there are tons of Japanese sports cars under any price point that you have. No matter what price point you're at, you could find a Japanese car that can be fun, can be cool if you wanted to. And that's awesome. Even if you have like $1,000, dude, you can find like a 6th gen Accord. Sure, it won't be pretty when you get it, but you can make it pretty. And it's like, that's cool. Like, there's so many options for you if you are a Japanese car enthusiast. You like front wheel drive? There's tons of front wheel drive options. Rear wheel drive? Tons of those. All wheel drive? Only a couple of those, to be honest. Like WRXs and Evos are kind of your only option there. They make like G37 all-wheel drive now. But yeah, no, it's freaking sick, man. You got all these. Oh my god, that sun is actually starting to kill me. I'm sorry, you guys are gonna have to deal with that. Also, I'm gonna have to turn around up here. And a lot of other cars, because like, you know, America and German cars, those are the other two big ones. That's why I keep mentioning those. But they don't, you know, you do have options, don't get me wrong. You know, you have Mercedes, Audi, BMW, freaking Volkswagen. You have a tons of options there, but it's just not the same as a Japanese. And then on top of that, like, not even just the car itself, but engine options. Like, dude, you hear about all these Euro builds or all these American muscle builds, and they're pretty much all the same. American muscle just has an LS in it, and European are almost always like a BMW, or sometimes they'll do Volkswagens, because Volkswagens do have some pretty good motors for tuning. But that's about it. You know, like that's the extent of the tuning potential of German cars. Japanese, dude, we have so many motors. We have the 4G63, we have the RBs, the 2Js, the VQs, B series Honda engines, K series Honda engines. You got rotaries. The WRX's boxer motors are great. Honestly, even the 1UZ nowadays is pretty damn good. Like, there's so many options for you. SRs are one of the best. KAs are even pretty damn good. Like, there's so many motors from Japan that are good for making power on. Like, that not only can you have a really good option for a car platform to build it on, but then the heart of the car, the motor, can also be just a really good motor as well, and you have tons of options for that too, and that's what makes me happy there. But second place, my second favorite reason, is the cost. Now, yes, the cost of Japanese cars has definitely gone up in the past couple of years, and I'm not going to be the one to try and sit here and tell you guys that they're still like an insane deal. They're not anymore. They're no longer the good deal that they used to be. However, they still are cheap compared to a lot of other cars out there. Yes, are you paying $15K if you want an S14 that's actually clean nowadays? Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. And so there are some exceptions, but for the most part, if you just get a regular Japanese car, like I paid $3,000 for my Integra, and I paid $5,000 for my 350Z. Those are very cheap prices. Miatas are still pretty damn cheap. Lexuses are still pretty damn cheap. Most Hondas are still pretty damn cheap. A lot of Toyotas are still pretty. They're not that expensive still, and that's amazing. And on the top of that, since there's so much aftermarket support for them because the community is so large, the price for everything else is also very cheap. So if you need to buy like a turbo for the car, it's cheap. Brakes for the car, they're cheap. Seats, anything that you want to buy for the car, it's a lot cheaper than BMWs and Camaros and stuff like that. It's just, the price for these cars are truly unmatched in the community right now. I mean, yeah, you could get a faster car for probably cheaper. Like, you could buy like a Catfish Camaro, which has an LS in it, and you know, make some very good power out of it for pretty cheap. But there's so many options with the Japanese cars. You're not really restricted to that one, that are all pretty damn cheap, and that's what brings it up a lot. But first place, and this is pretty obvious, but the biggest reason why I love Japanese cars is the customization / possibilities. Dude, you can make a Japanese car look however you want it to look, and it's going to look good. It is crazy. You can have like a time attack build. You can have a drift build. You can have just a stance car build. You can have a VIP like show car type of build. You could do whatever, drag cars. You have endless possibilities with Japanese sports cars. Now I will say a lot of other cars, you know, other car countries are starting to come around to that. I've seen like stanced Mustangs lately and like drift ready BMWs, and that's freaking sick. I like seeing that kind of stuff. But Japanese has always been that way. You always have just so many options, and again, since everything's so cheap, you don't feel that bad buying the front splitter or the front bumper for your Acura Integra, because it costs like $200, so it's like dirt cheap. Who cares? And it's just like it's awesome. I love that about it. It's definitely 100% the selling point on Japanese cars. Like I hear people constantly talk about Jeep Wranglers, and that's what they like about Jeep Wranglers, is that you can change almost everything on a Jeep Wrangler. But that's exactly how Japanese cars are. Hood, fenders, bumpers, lips, side skirts, rear bumpers, spoilers, trunks even. They make like carbon fiber duck-billed trunks for cars. The roof, they even make carbon fiber roofs nowadays. Everything on the interior, seats, steering wheel, center consoles, entertainment units, freaking gauge clusters, the roof, like lining, everything on a Japanese car can be changed and has options for you out there if you do want to change it as well. And that is so awesome to me. They're just literally like a blank canvas, and you can work your magic on it and make some art out of it, and I love that. But now I promised you guys in the beginning that I am going to give you guys some cons, because there are some cons. There is, you know, it's not all daisies and roses or whatever they say when it comes to Japanese cars. There are some things that I dislike about them. The first one is they usually sound bad. And now when I mean bad, they don't sound bad compared to like a regular car. No. They still sound better, you know, than if you were to just drive around in a stock freaking Altima. You know what I'm saying? But that thing's freaking sick, by the way. Look at that guy. I like it. But oh my gosh, I can't see again. Alright, well this has to come back down again. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, the sound. But they usually do sound a little bit worse than the rest of the community. Now it's okay. You know, we have some that do sound better. Rotary motors, the RB sounds incredible. 2J sound incredible. But those are very, very, very rare motors. I mean, again, sound is subjective, but that's how I view it. Next is all the very cool cars are overpriced. Every Japanese car that you actually truly want, like the ones that you really want, they're overpriced at this point. S2Ks are going for 15K, Evos are going for 25K, RX-7s are going for 50K, Supras are going for like 100K, and then R34 GTRs are going for $500,000. Yeah. I bought this Integra for $3,000. I obviously wanted the Integra Type R because it's just a better version of this car, but those are selling for like $20,000. So it's just, it's absolutely ridiculous. The price of the ones that are very, very popular are just way too high. S chassis are stupid expensive. Chasers and JZXs are ridiculous. Even like the basic ones are getting up there in price. Like, dude, Miatas are not found under like you could find one for like 3K, and that's like as low as you're gonna find one for. And like that's stupid. They used to be like $1,000, but yeah, the price is definitely going up. But it's still, again, it's still the best, in my opinion, out there of the three: German, American, and Japanese. I still think their prices are the most reasonable of the three ones. And finally, the last reason I don't like them, the last con, is they are way too overhyped. You know, again, like that guy that I told you about earlier that saw my car at the gas station and thought it was worth $70,000. It's like things like that make me think like, wow, yeah, these cars get a lot of love. Like people, you know, hype them up way more than they deserve. Yes, we have some insane cars in Japanese culture. Again, I know I've said it before, but Supra, GTR, Silvia, Evos, WRXs, Integras, honestly, Hondas in general, we have some legendary cars. The Celica GT4s, Eclipse GSX. Like, we do have some awesome, amazing cars that do deserve a lot of hype, but they don't deserve the hype that they get, man. I mean, some of these cars, they're getting, like, they're like so crazy hyped, like so crazy. The obvious one is the Mark IV Supra. Yes, everybody in the world knows about the Mark IV Supra nowadays. Is it overhyped? I don't know. I mean, the Mark IV Supra kind of deserves it. It really was a legend, and it will go down in history as a legend. But it still is definitely, like, you could see the argument that people make when they say that the Mark IV Supra is overhyped. Like, I understand it. Do I agree with it? Not really. I think the Mark IV Supra deserves what it has. You know, it's a very, very good car. But at the same time, like I said, like, if somebody talked to me about it, I'm not going to disagree with them, because I can see where they're coming from. And it's just like, that kind of ruins it. Not that much. I mean, it doesn't really matter that much. But yeah, sometimes when you're driving in my Acura Integra and I see like a BMW M6 drive by me and I'm like, that's freaking sick, but everybody else is looking at my car just because it's a bright red little Honda from the 90s, I'm always kind of like, that doesn't really make sense. You know, it's always kind of like, my car is $5,000 and it's not special. It's a stock Integra that's lowered on rep wheels, okay? This guy's got a BMW M6 and people are looking at mine. It's just like, it's kind of always been that way. But even, it makes sense though, because like, I have non-car guy friends and I have car guy friends. And I was at the gas station with my non-car guy friend not too long ago, and we saw a BMW M5 F90 show up. It was unbelievably gorgeous. Like, I was staring at it, and he was like, he doesn't know cars, he was like, it just looks like a normal BMW. Like, that's kind of the reason why all these other BMWs and American cars aren't that hyped, is they just don't look that crazy. Japanese cars do. So obviously, you know, it's going to catch the average folks' eye more if your car looks way more unique. The average guy is going to stare at it more. They don't care what's under the hood of that car. They don't care if it's special. They don't care if it costs $100,000. And he literally thought an M5 F90, a $100,000 car, was just an average BMW. And it's like, so that's kind of the reason why they're so overhyped, is because they look incredible and they look way unique compared to everything else on the road, especially in America. We have American muscle cars and trucks and stuff. We don't have a lot of people driving Japanese cars. But yeah, I definitely think they're a little overhyped. I definitely think the price of the really expensive ones can come down a little bit, and I definitely think that they sound a little bit bad compared to the rest of the competition. But overall, Japanese cars are my favorite car country out there. And yes, I know BMW is my favorite brand, so it doesn't make sense, but cut me some slack. And those are the reasons why. This is a 20-minute long video, so I'm going to stop now before I waste too much of your time. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I love you guys, man. We're doing crazy on here. The next deep dive I figured out is going to be on the Hyundai Genesis Coupe, so hope you guys are ready for that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.